The cardboard box was heavy in her arms, not because of what was inside, but because of what it represented. Termination papers folded against a nurse's badge, a stethoscope tangled with unpaid bills, and the quiet collapse of a life she had spent years building. Fired and walking home in the cold drizzle, her scrubs still damp from a double shift, she did not yet know that the sound about to tear through the sky would rewrite everything. She did not know that before the day ended, 2 helicopters would land and grown men would shout for her by profession, not by name, asking only one urgent question: where is the nurse? Before you go any further, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet power of doing the right thing even when no one is watching, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness. Your support keeps stories like this alive. She had always believed nursing was a calling, not a job, but that belief had been tested every day for the past year. Staff shortages meant 16-hour shifts, skipped meals, and constant blame when systems failed. She stayed late when others left, covered extra rounds without complaint, and carried the weight of patients' pain home with her every night. The day she was fired began like any other, with alarms ringing and corridors smelling of antiseptic and exhaustion. When a critical equipment failure delayed treatment, management needed someone to blame, and she was the easiest name to circle. There was no discussion, no review, just a quiet office, a clipped explanation, and security watching as she placed her life into a cardboard box and walked out of the hospital she had served without question. The road home was long and unfamiliar because she avoided the bus to save money she no longer had. Rain slicked the asphalt, and traffic roared past without noticing the woman in blue scrubs walking with her head down. Each step replayed every sacrifice she had made, every holiday missed, every promise postponed. She wondered how she would explain this to her family, how she would pay rent, how something she loved could end so abruptly. The box dug into her arms, but she did not set it down, as if letting go would mean admitting defeat. She kept walking, breathing through the ache, telling herself that dignity was the last thing she could still carry. Miles away, a different kind of chaos was unfolding. A multi-vehicle accident on the highway had turned into a medical emergency that overwhelmed first responders. Among the injured was a child with a rare condition, one that required immediate, precise intervention. Paramedics scrambled through protocols, but time was slipping, and the nearest specialist was hours away. In the frantic exchange of radio calls, one name surfaced again and again, not as a celebrity or a leader, but as a nurse known for handling impossible cases with calm hands and clear judgment. She had trained others, improvised solutions in crises, and once saved a life using nothing but intuition and experience. There was only one problem: no one could find her at the hospital. As engines thundered to life, 2 helicopters lifted into the gray sky, not for a rescue yet, but for a search. The question echoed through headsets and command centers as coordinates were pulled and last known locations traced. Where is the nurse? On the ground, she was still walking, unaware that the world was suddenly moving to catch up with her. She paused near a bend in the road to adjust her grip on the box, blinking back tears she refused to let fall. That was when the wind changed, when the air began to vibrate with a force that felt unreal. The sound arrived before the sight, a deep, relentless roar that drowned out traffic and made people stop and stare. Leaves and debris lifted from the roadside as 2 helicopters descended toward an open stretch of highway. Cars skidded to a halt, strangers raised their phones, and the ordinary world split open into something cinematic and impossible. She stood frozen, rain streaking her face, convinced this had nothing to do with her. Then she noticed the urgency, the way uniformed figures scanned the crowd, the way hands pointed not at an address, but at her blue scrubs. In that moment, something shifted inside her. The humiliation of being fired, the fear of an uncertain future, all of it was interrupted by the simple truth that she was still a nurse. Not because a hospital said so, but because lives depended on what she knew. Without words, she stepped forward, setting the box down gently on the wet grass. She moved toward the chaos with the same steady focus she had always carried into emergencies, her exhaustion replaced by clarity. The road that had felt endless minutes before now felt like a threshold. What followed was not a miracle but something more powerful. It was skill meeting urgency, compassion guided by experience. On that highway, under spinning blades and pouring rain, she did what she had been trained to do. She stabilized, assessed, adapted. She became the calm center of a storm, and slowly, impossibly, the crisis bent in the direction of hope. When the child was finally airlifted, breathing steady, the relief was visible on every face that had witnessed her work. As the helicopters lifted away, the crowd dispersed and the rain softened. She was left standing where she had started, only now the world saw her differently. More importantly, she saw herself differently. Fired papers no longer defined her. The box on the grass was still there, but it felt lighter, almost irrelevant. By nightfall, calls would come, apologies wrapped in offers, doors reopening that had slammed shut hours earlier. But the true change had already happened. She understood that her worth had never been theirs to give or take. If this story is touching your heart right now, if you feel that quiet ache of recognition or hope, please pause for a moment and support this video. Like it, share it, and let us know you're here. Your engagement helps these stories reach people who need them most. Before the ending, we have one special request for you. Please comment below with a single word that describes how this story made you feel. Your words matter more than you know. She walked home later that evening without the box, her steps lighter, her spine straighter. The road was the same, but she was not. Sometimes life strips everything away just to show you what cannot be taken. And sometimes, when you think you are walking alone, the sky itself moves to remind